I have this special ability to prophesy to myself, and these prophecies always come true. I consider myself a very intuitive person. I am an INFJ personality type, and part of that means I view the world largely through the lens of feelings and emotions rather than logic. And I rely heavily on my intuition to make decisions rather than on my five senses. So, growing up until very recently, if I had to make a decision, I had crafted this quote unquote mechanism where I would imagine the two options, and whatever option lighted up in my head would be the option I would go in for. And it worked quite fine a couple of times. It's hard to explain, guys. I grew up often being rescued from any form of failure. Failure was fatal and unacceptable. I remember once being told that if I didn't achieve a certain academic result, a certain grade, that this person would be extremely disappointed in me. And the manner and passion with which this was communicated translated to me that their love for me was conditional upon my success, and that I would somehow be less of a person if I failed, if I didn't attain this particular standard. And that really hurts. It's a memory that remained engraved in me for a very long time. I think this is where the fear of failure was birthed in me. For other people, I think it is birthed from a trait of perfectionism, like the fear of not attaining this insanely high standard that they have set for themselves. And for other people, it might be birthed from past trauma, the fear of experiencing once more the consequences of past failures and mistakes. So there was this one time I was going in for a major exam, and instead of studying, I was gripped and paralyzed by a very intense fear of failure. Despite being a smart girl, I know I'm a smart girl, I somehow believe that I didn't have the skills to succeed, talk less of achieve this crazily high goal I had set for myself. If I told you how high this goal was, you wouldn't believe it. So I procrastinated studying to the extent that I think it actually affected the outcome and the final results. You remember that childhood memory of disappointment I mentioned earlier? I was scared out of my wits that I would disappoint people if I dared to fail. And not only that, I think I was also trying to prove a point concerning my worth. I was afraid that people would think less of me if I didn't achieve this particular goal. And all these kept me in avoidance, anxiety, helplessness, powerlessness, indecisiveness, and feeling out of control. In addition to these feelings, I think some people even go to the extent of telling other people that they might probably fail just so that they lower everybody's expectations of them. Other people subconsciously, seriously underestimate their own skills so that they do not feel like they have let themselves down if they happen to fail. And one impact of the seed of the fear of failure in me was low self-esteem. And what that meant was I became somebody who constantly doubted her own thoughts. Up to very recently, it was like I couldn't trust my own mind. I also became somebody who was unwilling to take on challenges. To me, challenges were more of a sign from the universe that I should give up, that it was time to stop trying. Imagine how much that can stop a person from pursuing their dreams and achieving their goals and purpose. For example, if a goal of mine required that I had to learn a new skill, especially if I had to learn the new skill from scratch, then count me out. But yeah, I think I've come a really long way, because here I am learning how to film and edit these amazing YouTube videos on this even more amazing YouTube channel, which you, amazing person, are subscribing to right now. Thank you very much for subscribing right now. Remember how I said I have this ability to prophesy to myself and that these prophecies always come to pass? Well, what I didn't realize was that the fear of failure was affecting how I predicted these future outcomes of mine, and subsequently affected how I behaved. I would subconsciously convince myself that I intuitively knew that I would fail, blaming a force beyond me, blaming this light in my head, this light that could help me choose between two options, this light that could help me predict future outcomes. This way I wouldn't have to take responsibility for myself or for my actions. I could simply say I failed because it was destiny. And I didn't realize that this really affected the way I approached the tasks I had at hand and how I approached life in general. When people are confident in their ability to perform a task, they prefer to be given something that will help them perform even better. However, people unsure of their abilities are more likely to want what will hurt their performance, thus giving them an external source to blame for their possible failure. And that's what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy. At the end of the day, with Jesus and the help of the Holy Spirit, I think I'm well on my way to full recovery. I'm learning to embrace the growth mindset. I tell myself that I can learn new skills, I can be better, I can improve, instead of the former mindset of it's either you have it or you don't. I'm also learning to focus on the things I actually do have control over, like my discipline and consistency, my attitude towards work, for example, my character. To me, these things are infinitely more important than the end result of failure or success. And as I do a little more introspection, I realized that Marianne Williamson was right. My deepest fear is not that I am inadequate. My deepest fear is that I am powerful beyond measure. It is my light, not my darkness, that most frightens me. I ask myself, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who am I not to be? I'm a child of God after all. I'm a child of God after all.